Cool. Let me give you the solution for all the tests that I wrote. So in here, if I go to structure, you can see all the tests that I have, and you'll have a list, and also you can grab all these tests to make sure that you compare against yours, and you see also how I've written these tests. So for select customers, you've seen this already. Select by customer ID, you've seen this also. Will return empty. When select customer by ID, you've seen this. Exists person with email. Now here, what I've done is basically the same setup. So we have the customer, then I insert the customer. When I invoke the method, then the actual is true because the customer exists. Then moving on to the opposite. So when the email is not present, so here I created an email and I don't insert anyone, I just have a random email, and then when I invoke the method, it should be false. So you always use given, when, then your tests will be easy to write. Then here exists with ID, so exists, and then this should be customer actually, not person. So customer with ID. And here what I'm doing is, and I think we also have to fix the method name, right? But in here we have the customer. In here we insert the customer. Then for us to get the ID, we perform the filter on select all customers. We filter by the email. Then we map the ID. We find first, otherwise we throw, because we know that the customer should be there with that given email. Then I say actual, and then invoke exists person with ID, and then this should be true. The reverse, so if the person with ID -1 is passed into exists person with ID, then it should be false in here. Delete customer by ID. Here we create a customer, we insert the customer, then we grab the ID as before. And some of these things we could actually refactor, but I'm just going to leave it here as it is because it's easy to follow instead of you having to go to each method. Then when we invoke delete customer by ID, given the ID, then the assertion should be when we select the customer by ID, it should not be present. Now moving on to update customer name. So here we create a customer, we insert, we get the ID as before, then we have a new name. So the initial name is basically a random name. Then we update to this name called foo. We create the update. So this is what the update customer method takes. And remember, we always have to pass the ID. So ID should always be set. Then we set the name. We update the customer. Then we perform the assertion. So we grab the customer by ID, and then everything should be the same apart from the new name, which should be different. We'll do the same for email. So email is the exact same thing. So here you'll see that we have a new email. We set the email and the ID always, and then we check that the email was changed. For age, exact same thing. So here, new age 100, set the age and ID, and then the new age is changed. And finally, we'll update all properties for customer. So here, what I have is the initial customer, and then here I'm setting everything in here. So name, email, as well as age, update the customer. And then the assertion should be that when we grab the customer by ID, the actual, so what we get is present and has value of the updated customer. And also we have will not update when nothing to update. So basically we have this customer, there's nothing to update. So we have to always set the ID, as I said, because it's used within the SQL query, update the customer, and then we basically check that what we get back from the database is the exact same thing as the customer. So nothing has changed. And to be honest, this is it. Now let's run all tests in here with coverage. So click on this icon, run with coverage, and hopefully all tests should pass. There we go, you can see everything passed. And we have our report. But what we're going to do is, if I close this and then navigate to the class and the test, and check this out. So the coverage now is telling us that this has been covered. Let's see if we have any red lines in here. So I think that I've done a good job. And you can see that this class is now fully tested. So if I open up coverage, I just want to show you that if we look into the JDBC, customer JDBC data access service, you can see that the methods, 100%, 8 out of 8, the line as well. So everything has been tested, and the class as well. So good job. Now, obviously, it's not always feasible to get 100%, but you see that in this scenario, we managed to do it because we're just testing the DAO layer to make sure that our SQL queries that we have in here, so all of these SQL queries indeed work. And let me just show you. So if I remove, for example, name from here, and let's run all the tests, it should fail. So one of them should fail. You can see actually few of them should fail because they depend on it. So this is the benefit of testing, and good job. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, catch me on the next one.